Welcome to 100 Yards of Football. If you liked the video this morning, please come in and share it. We'll surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards of Football. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. And today, our video is going to be the NFL veteran, a guy that played at a high level, on a collegiate level and a professional level, Mr. Bubba Smith, by way of Michigan State University and the Baltimore Colts. So if you like the video today, please come in and share it. We surely appreciate it here at 100 Yards Football. And today, our guest analysis is going to be former Southern baseball great, Mr. Leroy Boyd. So, Coach Boyd, can you tell us what was so great about Bubba Smith on his collegiate level playing at Michigan State University in his NFL career with the Baltimore Colts?
Well, it started when he was in high school. His father was his football coach. And in that area called the Golden Triangle, where they had Port Arthur, Beaumont, and Orange, produced over 100 plus NFL players. Not just college players, even more college players, but NFL players. It's a rough area to come out of. And once he got to the pros, he was a dominant player. You saw that at Michigan State. He was a true monster on the football field.
You talk about that Beaumont, Port Arthur area in Texas, and you think about all the great athletes that came out of that area: Jerry Ball, Vance Bedford, Mel Farr, Jerry Levias, Billy Tubbs, former head basketball coach with the Oklahoma Sooners, Larry Graham, formerly one of the best entertainers of all time with Graham Central Station, and used to be the lead guitarist with Sly and the Family Stone. Then you think about Jamal Charles. Then you think about Steven Jackson, former NBA player. Then you think about Joe Washington, who played at the University of Oklahoma, and then probably the most famous individual that came out of that area, two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time national champion, Mr. Jimmy Johnson, who coached with the Dallas Cowboys on a professional level and coached at the University of Miami in college. Coach Boyd, tell us about Bubba Smith and his skill set that made him so dominant, especially when he was at Michigan State.
Well, he was ahead of his time because the Big Ten wasn't used to that kind of athlete. You know, and that era, it was Michigan State was one of the few universities that was recruiting black athletes. So he was facing guys who had never faced a black athlete of that size. And he just totally dominated them. Because Michigan State recruited 20 black athletes when they brought in Bubba. And it changed their program forever.
You're talking about his skill set, and when you look at Bubba Smith playing at Michigan State at that time, you got to think about the toughness, A+. You got to think about his mean streak, A+. You got to think about the core strength, A+. You got to think about when he was at Michigan State, creating penetration as a defensive tackle. Then you talk about the explosiveness and leverage. Then you talk about hold the point. Then you talk about the bull rush. Then you talk about the power rush. And then a man of his size is 6'7", 285 pounds. His tackling was just at another level. They nicknamed him the hard hitter during that time in the Big Ten. But I like the team he played on in Michigan State. The 1965 and 1966 teams he played on, they went 19-1-1. And all them great players that was on that team: Gene Washington, Clint Jones, Harold Lucas, Charles Thornhill, Jesse Phillips, Jimmy Ray, outstanding quarterback out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And then, of course, the great one, Mr. George Webster, who went on, became a first-round pick in the 1967 draft, along with Bubba Smith, who went on and had a great career with the Houston Oilers. Taking this, after Bubba Smith finished at Michigan State, he went into the NFL. Talk about his playing ability with the Baltimore Colts at that time.
Again, he was one of those guys that knew how to use his ability. He was a big dude, he's quick, and he used those against anybody he played against. The thing about him, he was mean. And that's what you have to be in football. If you want to be successful in football, you can look at all the great defensive players. They were mean as it could be. And he was one of those mean guys.
And then I think about, you go back to November 19th, 1966. I'm going back to his college career, and you look at the game of the century. Notre Dame and Michigan State. And this is when I had my first knowledge of Bubba Smith. I remember early in the first quarter, him playing defensive tackle for Michigan State. He made that tremendous bone-shaking tackle on Terry Hanratty and knocked the Notre Dame quarterback out of the game and changed the whole course of the football game. And everybody, even the game televised on national television on ABC, everybody said, oh my God, we haven't seen a gentleman at that size, that power, 6'7", 285, even be that quick coming off the line of scrimmage. But the highlights of Bubba Smith's career that I'm really enjoyable about is that he was a first-round pick in the 1967 NFL Draft, Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl V, NFL champion in 1968, first team All-Pro in 1971, two-time consensus All-American in 1965 and 1966 at Michigan State, and he played in 111 NFL games. Coach Boyd, if you had to sum up Bubba Smith as being one of the greatest defensive tackles on this college level and pro level, what would he come to your mind, let's say in the top 10 of all time?
Well, you know, it's hard to say top 10 all time because they got players who played in the 30s and 40s and 50s that I didn't see. But let's go back to that Notre Dame game. He said after the years, they asked him years when he was in the NFL what changed the game. He said when he knocked Terry Hanratty out, they brought a guy in who was a little faster and a little quicker, and it made it tougher for him to get to him. But he said that was a mistake to blast him and put him out the game because if he had stayed in, they would have won the game.
When you look at all the tackles that came into professional football in the 60s, and you think about Bob Lilly that played with the Dallas Cowboys, TCU, you think about Merlin Olsen that played with the LA Rams, Utah State, you think of Alan Page, who played in that 1966 game from Notre Dame. Then you think about Joe Green that played in North Texas State, played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then you think about Buck Buchanan that played with the Kansas City Chiefs by way of Grambling State University. All those guys are big and fast, but when you look at all their skill level, there's no question about it. Bubba Smith kind of led that group and led what was going to happen in the National Football League with big players playing at that size, playing the tackle position.
Yeah,
Go
ahead.
He was
one of the best. He was one of the best because he was on level with all those guys that you mentioned. And it was amazing that at one time, all those big guys of that size and that speed came into the NFL almost at the same time.
Your final words today about the legend out of Michigan State University by way of the Baltimore Colts, Mr. Bubba Smith, Coach.
I wish I had went to Southern University. We had some guys that didn't get the notoriety that he got that played against him in the NFL, but they never achieved his level of success.
Yes, sir. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. We surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards Football. I'd like to give special thanks to our producer today for making it happen, Mr. Jeremiah Long. I'd like to thank my man, my business partner from Brooklyn, New York, Mr. Ronnie Keebler, to Mr. Bobby Butler, NFL guy, Florida State finest, Atlanta Falcons great, to Mr. Logan Landers for making it happen on every Wednesday for us, doing a great job. And, of course, the young man out of Grambling, Louisiana, Ruston, Louisiana, Mr. James Maryland. Thank you for all your contributions to 100 Yards Football, and also to the man with the voice, Mr. Mark Denham. Thank you. God bless. My final words about Mr. Bubba Smith, I like what he did after his NFL career. He became a great actor, and I'm always going to remember him in the role as Morris Hightower in Police Academy. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. We really, surely appreciate it here on 100 Yards Football. Y'all be blessed for the rest of the week.